reputational damage or reputation loss. So here are a few warning signs. We're going to get right to it. Please give this channel a like, subscribe, a comment, and ask me any questions. My contact information is in the details of this video, and respectfully, you guys can also comment in the comments below if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, whatever the case may be there. So first off, one of the evident freight fraud red flags is unusually bad or unusually that is low prices. Okay, so quotes that are significantly below market rates, or they just seem too good to be true, right? So why is this a red flag? Well, fraudsters often lure victims with attractive pricing. So if a rate is substantially lower than all of the other competitors, it could definitely indicate a scam as well. Another thing is unusually high prices as well, right? So if the market is giving, relatively average prices or good prices, and then one guy that is insanely more than all the other ones combined, that could definitely be a red flag for you guys as well. So what can you do to prevent this? Try to compare the quotes from multiple trustworthy, trusting, verifiable, reputable sources. So if a price seems unusually low, try to investigate further before you actually book somebody on that specific rate that they're giving you. Okay? And for carriers, that's the same thing, right? So if you're looking at the rates posted by brokers and one broker is insanely higher than all the other ones, could be a big red flag as to why that is. Please do your due diligence to find out, your investigation to find out, is this legitimately, unfortunately it's come to that. That's where we are in the industry. That's something you're gonna have to do. Another thing is a pressure to make really quick decisions. Okay, so urgent requests for immediate action or threats of losing out on a deal, that could be a red flag. So scammers often create a false sense of urgency to prevent victims from thoroughly vetting the offer, okay, not giving you enough time to look at it at face value. Now take your time to make informed decisions. Okay, legitimate businesses will definitely understand the need for this type of investigation, research, verification process as well. Okay. Another thing is inconsistent or vague, kind of bland company details. Okay, so what things you can look for is things like very bad or poorly designed websites, or those that have almost no information on them. Could be definitely a big red flag. Another thing is confusion or inconsistencies with a company's name, addresses, contact details across all kinds of different platforms. Okay, that could definitely be a red flag for you as well. Also, using generic email addresses, unfortunately, there's too much scams going on. So if companies are only using, so brokers are only using at gmail.com, at yahoo.com, at hotmail.com, that kind of stuff, that is a red flag. On the broker side, if carriers are only using at Gmail, at Hotmail, do your due diligence. I am not saying every single person that has a Gmail account is a red flag in the system, but there is a higher probability. That's what I'm trying to say with this. So why is this a red flag? So legitimate companies that have invested have consistent professional online presence. Okay. Very confusing or conflicting information can definitely indicate a fraudulent or fraudster or fraudulent operation. So you should verify company details through official sources like industry associations or even government registries. For example, the Safer website, that's just one example. So be out on the lookout for this type of business practice with limited online presence. Okay, so when carriers or brokers have limited online presence, it's a cause for concern. Another thing is reluctancy or hesitation to provide references. So if there's a refusal when asked for client references or proof of past successful shipments, That's a red flag. So why is this a red flag? Well, reputable companies are usually happy to provide you with references to show you like, hey, look, this is what we did. This is why you should take our shipment. Or on the other hand, as a carrier, it'd be like, hey, you should call these 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 brokers and find out how we did for them on their shipments. So a hesitation or refusal may indicate a lack of legitimate business history. So it is a red flag. Ask for references. Check the references. Reach out to provided contacts to verify the experiences of the people that have reached out to you to do business with you. Whatever side of the spectrum you're on, whether you're the carrier or the broker, as an example. Also, unusual payment requests. Okay, for example, requests for things you can look for, things like requests for upfront payments. Okay, so if a carrier is asking you to pay them immediately.
Leaf fans have always been united by passion. We roar for every hit, save, and huge win. That's why GFL recycles our aluminum cups again, and again, and again. Roar, recycle, repeat with GFL Environmental.
Or they're insisting on wire transfers to personal bank accounts, or there's requests to split payments among multiple different accounts. These methods, can make it difficult to recover funds if there is fraud that happens. Try to stick to just industry payment practices, standard industry practices, and be cautious of any unusual payment requests that come your way. Another red flag is the lack of proper documentation. Okay, so a reluctance or inability to provide proper licensing, insurance documentation, or official paperwork is a red flag for us as brokers looking at carriers. And legitimate carriers and brokers will always have all the necessary documentation immediately available. There's not even a way to hesitate in that respect. And always verify licenses, insurance is a big one, and other crucial documents like a surety bond, like the authority of the broker, for example, or the authority of the carrier, and check with issuing authorities if in doubt. For example, SAFER in the United States. Okay. Inconsistencies also in the details of the shipments themselves. Okay, so things you can look for. If there's differences in shipment weights, dimensions, contents across different documents, that's a red flag. Okay, and this can be a sign of attempted fraud, such as trying to ship prohibited items or manipulate customs fees as well. That's a red flag. That's a problem. Carefully try to review all the shipment documents and also cross-reference details, and investigate any discrepancies before proceeding. And always remember, if something seems too good to be true, it's always better to take a step back, stop, investigate further to figure out, is this legitimate, and try to implement a way forward for verification processes. Try to use technology to help you in these solutions to find out or enhance your fraud detection capabilities. Okay? This doesn't mean now you have to go out and spend $5,000 a month. Okay, there are verifiable, available sources or tech out there that can help you detect fraud right in its tracks. As a broker, my opinion is, and this is my suggestion for brokers, when you get a load from a shipper and you find a carrier and you've done your due diligence and you feel that this carrier is the right fit for you, tell the shipper, carrier A is coming in, driver A is coming in, truck number is 1, trailer number is 2. It should say this name on the side of the truck. If there's any difference to what I have just given you, immediately let me know, because this could be a fraud related event and we are just trying to protect your freight and you from being a victim of fraud, and also ourselves from being victims of fraud. This simple task is a human approach to resolving the issue. Also, carriers, when you go to a shipper, tell the shippers, I am here to pick up for ABC Logistics Brokerage, as an example, okay? And if the shipper's like, who the heck is that? I don't even know who that is. That's a red flag. You are about to be a victim of a double brokerage scam or scheme or fraud related event. So these are simple, free ways for you guys to stop it right in its track so we don't run into these situations. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoy this video in any capacity, please give a like. It's free to do so and it helps the channel more than you would know. So thank you so much. Catch more videos on the channel and enjoy. Have a great rest of your week. Thank you.
Teams switching off. On Miro, the innovation workspace, teams work on an infinite AI-powered canvas. No more silos, no more blank stares, no more productivity tools that aren't very productive. On the canvas, projects ship faster. Why? Because teams are on the same page from idea to outcome. So there's no more dozing off, switching off, or wandering off in different directions. There's better collaboration, problem solving, and AI tools that do things like this. Brief written, next steps agreed, even time to call your mom. Oh, hey Patty. Miro, Miro on the wall. Who's the fastest of them all? You are, Jenny. You are. Innovation belongs on the canvas. Innovation belongs on Miro.
TD customers get up to 15% off a new home insurance policy from TD Insurance. Conditions apply.
While trucking can be a very lucrative business, a great business to get involved in and actually spread it as a generational business that you're going to give out to your family, obviously get them to work with you and build a business from scratch, it can definitely be a very, very good business to get involved in, both in Canada and the United States. But you have to consider the fact that there is investments that have to be initially made to get things going. Okay, so there has to be a requirement of initial investment to actually have the business take off. Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about what it takes to open up a trucking company. We're going to talk about breakdown of trucking company startup costs, factors that are influencing the costs and what those costs would look like. And of course, also some different strategic ways that you can reduce costs when it comes to running your trucking business. This is coming from a place of experience. This is coming from a place of been there and done that. So hopefully this will be a piece of advice that you can utilize for your own business if you decide to get in trucking or when you decide to get in trucking. We do incorporate the United States as a great place to start a trucking company. However, you have to realize that the average cost to start a trucking company in the United States generally varies between $100,000 and $275,000. So these costs are greatly influenced, of course, by factors such as trucking vehicles, licenses and permits, and insurance, and of course the drivers' salaries as well. Now, trucking industry does promise a 2.5% to 6% profit margin on the average. So since the profitability runs very thin, employing cost-saving techniques can definitely help with regulating the operational expenses and regulating the everyday expenses and of course monthly expenses as well when it comes to running your trucking company. So when we look at the average cost for a trucking company, we have to look at a bunch of different things that are within a checklist, if you want to call it, in terms of things that you will need for your trucking company to get it going the right way. So one of these things, of course, the truck itself. How much would a truck cost? If we're going to give a range to this value, it's going to be anywhere between $50,000 and $150,000, okay, to start things off. This is the truck itself. In addition to this, if you're going to go out and become more than just a power-only carrier, then you're going to have to look at trailer expenses as well. Trailers, typically you can get used ones anywhere between $25,000 and $50,000. Now, yes, depending on the market, depending on inventory, these prices can be a lot higher. And of course, depending on the downturn of the economy as well, these numbers can also be a little bit lower as well. But on the average, in terms of the range, between $25,000 and $50,000 is what you would be looking for your truck itself. In addition to this, the registration and incorporation fees will run you anywhere from $100 to up to about $500, depending on who you choose to do your incorporation for you. Of course, it will be cheaper to do it yourself and go through all the applications yourself, but a lot of people choose some kind of consultative approach or a consultant or consulting firm to get this stuff done for them. This is why we have to give a range realistically of what you're looking for as well. The licensing and permit side of the equation, you're going to be looking anywhere from $3,000 to about $8,000. Of course, it depends on how far you're willing to go from your domicile city and what kind of permits and licenses that you will get. In addition to this, the annual insurance, typically speaking, can be a average range between $9,000 and $12,000. Okay. Now, yes, can it be higher? Of course, it depends on the circumstances, depends on the drivers, the driver records, and everything else to see where you're going to fall in the insurance range. Your commercial truck insurance, you will have to get. Now, the hardware of the technology's hardware that you're going to have to get for your truck.
Wix gives you the power of AI to build the website you need. With full business functionality and a design tailored just for you. Customize every element of your website and watch your vision come to life in minutes. Control everything from the biggest tasks to the finest details. Personalized, optimized, ready to go live.
From the Lindt Maitre Chocolatier, discover new excellence mild. Expect delicious.
Is going to be anywhere between $350 to about $1,000. It really depends on who you go with. This could be things like electronic logging devices and tracking devices, visibility devices. This is kind of the range that you're looking at for most of the providers out there of these tech solutions for your trucking company. So these visibility or tracking things will help with things like keeping customers updated, that is freight brokers or shippers updated on the shipments that you run for them respectively, okay? In addition to this, a website would be a good idea to get. Websites typically is going to cost you somewhere between $500 and $5,000. If you build it yourself, yes, of course it will be on the cheaper side. But if you go and get the services of somebody else, it will be on the more higher side that I have just stated as well. In addition to this, the legal fees or professional services, that is the application or processing fee of the consultant that you're choosing, will range anywhere from $500 to $2,000 realistically. We have to give such a wide range because you will get consultants that can do it for cheaper, that have more reasonable prices, and some that are even well above the $2,000 mark that'll be charging you, $5,000. When I started my trucking company more than a decade ago, the gentleman that did the applications for us and stuff, his consultant fee was $5,000. That's how much he charged us to get everything completed, all the licenses, permits, applications, all that kind of stuff in that respect. The vehicle registration, stickers, and documentation will run you anywhere between $500 to $1,000, okay? The truck branding, so that'll be your logo on your truck, on your trailer, that kind of stuff. You're gonna be anywhere between $2,000 and $10,000 if you are choosing a company that actually does this as a service. This does not include your uncle, brother, sister, aunt that can do it for you for 50% off. This includes professional services that do this on a daily basis. This is why we have to give such a wide range what to expect. So again, this would be your one-time or initial startup getting going is going to be between $70,000 and about $280,000 in terms of the expenses that you'll be looking at here. We have to give a wide range because everybody's situation is going to be different. It's not a one-size-fits-all when it comes to pricing and how much money you're going to spend or how much money you're going to invest into the startup of your trucking company. Now, when it comes to reoccurring expenses, so these monthly things that will pop up, salaries will be anywhere between $3,000 and $8,000 typically for the drivers that you have and the people that are involved in running the daily operations, like dispatchers and things of that nature. Marketing of your services, that could be through advertisements on Facebook, on Instagram, on Google Ads as an example, will run you somewhere between $200 and $500 a month. And that's just to get eyeballs on your business. We live in a digital world, so the marketing side will be a part of an expense that you'll have to look at in terms of a monthly business expense. The accounting and bookkeeping will be anywhere between $100 and $300 typically. You can get good accountants somewhere between there. Of course, if you know somebody that is an accountant and they can give you a better discount as a service of being friends, for example, then yes, of course, you can get it for 50, 60, 75 bucks a month. But for the most part, professional services of accounting and bookkeeping will run you in that range. Fuel will run you anywhere between $3,000 and $10,000 a month per truck, okay? This depends, of course, how far you go. The further you go from your city, the more money it will be that you'll be spending on fuel. If you're gonna be running something like, let's say, 11,000 miles a month, and you're gonna become an over-the-road driver, this may cost you somewhere around $8,000 as your fuel expense for your 11,000 miles, as an example, okay? Repair and maintenance is hard to predict in terms of what you're gonna expect. Things break down. This is trucking. These are mechanical machines that you're moving around. So it can cost you anywhere between $500 as preventative maintenance, and repairs and actual hardcore maintenance would be somewhere like $1,500 in terms of monthly. So the range will be between $500 and $1,500 per month that you should definitely be looking to set aside for a rainy day. Even if you don't have any repairs for that month, you should definitely be looking as an expense monthly to plan for it, to plan for this, okay? And office, again, if you're gonna run your business out of your own house to start in terms of the office itself, yes, you're not gonna have this expense, but if you're gonna go out and rent an actual office space or yard space, this will be anywhere between $3,000 and $6,000 per month as your monthly expense for this kind of stuff. Okay, so your recurring monthly expenses will be anywhere between $9,800 approximately and $26,000 a month, respectively. Okay, so as an owner-operator,
pretend this burger is your content, but each view you get is worth less than a penny. So you need logs. How do you get them? By chasing the trends of the algorithms. Until, gross.
Traveling your way on points shouldn't be so hard. With RBC Avion Visa, you can fly during peak season or last minute without the points hike. Switch and get up to 55,000 bonus Avion points.
if you are going to do 11,000 miles a month, as an example, and you're bringing in $33,000 as your revenue, about 26,000 of that for that kind of operation, about $26,000 per month will be your operating expenses for your trucking company. So what does this mean for you? It means that you'll be left somewhere in the $7,000 range as your profit at the end of it all, okay? After paying everything that you need to pay for. Of course, these costs are averages. They can vary significantly. It depends on things like vehicle costs, licensing costs, permit requirements, salaries that are going to be paid, and a lot more other factors as well. So it's important to conduct very thorough research and plan. So planning to get a more accurate estimate of the cost specifically for your specific trucking company and what you're trying to do in your business as well. Some factors that affect trucking company startup costs, it's going to be things like location. Okay, location plays a very crucial role in determining the startup costs. Okay, for any kind of business, not just trucking. Trucking is not an exception to the rule, though. The location of your trucking company will vary and will directly be influenced what your labor costs are, what your fuel prices are, what your permit requirements are, business volume, okay, compliance fees, that is, and a lot more things. So certain cities and certain states have unique permit requirements for trucks to operate out of those states as well. So as an example, a New York tax account is required for any heavy vehicle operating in the state of New York that's weighing over 18,000 GVW. Okay, so the gross vehicle weight, if it's over 18,000 pounds, you need to get a heavy vehicle operating tax account. And just the initial filing for each vehicle can cost up to about $20 to create a New York tax account. The figure is like 19 bucks, so $20. So before starting your trucking company, map out the regions that you're going to be servicing, and also the unique requirements to operate in those such services. Okay? The location will also influence the rent of your office space if you're going to go out and get office space. So for example, the rent for a 1,500 square foot commercial space in a place like San Francisco will cost you between $3,000 and $6,000. But yes, if you're starting a trucking company out of Wyoming or out of North Dakota or Montana, it's probably going to be less than that, okay? And of course, starting with a home office is a very wise and smart decision for a very small scale trucking company in the beginning to save on these costs, okay? You see how the costs vary, and no two trucking companies are designed alike when it comes to this kind of stuff, okay? In addition to this, the trucks themselves, if you're going to go down a new purchase route, or if you're going to go down a used purchase route, or how about leasing, okay, leasing out your vehicle. Trucks are going to run the wheels of your business. Seriously, literally. So you do have to look at purchasing a truck for your business, okay? Now there are 3 ways to consider this. Buying the trucks, purchasing them outright, that is, or leasing the vehicles as an example. The investment in heavy vehicles isn't just one small thing, okay? If you're planning to buy a brand new sleeper, high specification type of truck, expect to pay somewhere between $50,000 minimum, again, depending on the size, and something like $1,500,000, okay? And it's a huge range because we're talking about all the specifications needed, okay? Now, can you get a Volvo for $275,000 or $190,000 or $150,000? Yes, okay? This is what Freightliners, as an example, Peterbilt trucks, Kenworths, yes, you can get them for between $250,000 and $150,000 as an example. But the more specific you get, the more specialized it becomes, the more heavily expensive it can get to get these vehicles on the road.
How white do you think your teeth really are? Let's try the tissue test.
Oof. Still yellow.
There's toothpaste white and there's Crest 3D White Strips White. They whiten like a $300 professional treatment.
And to maintain your brightest smile, try Crest 3D White toothpaste.
Delaunay Northwest Territories, the birthplace of hockey, and now the home of a Quaker breakfast bar stocked with our Canadian whole grain oats. We're proud to feed the passion for hockey because we believe no matter where you're from, you've got this.
In addition to this, the second purchase gets you a better pricing deal also for heavy vehicles. So costs for buying used vehicles can definitely span anywhere between $15,000 and $100,000. Okay, so maybe that's the best route for you as well. And I misspoke earlier when I said 1.5 million. What I'm trying to say is between $50,000 for a newer vehicle and up to $350,000 as an example. Really depends on the specifications. Really depends on what you're going to have in that truck and how new you're looking to go. Lastly, when it comes to the truck, you can lease trucks as well. And the leases will also come with a contractual period of 1 to 3 years, depending on what your lease agreement looks like. And you should expect to pay anywhere between $1,600 and $2,500 per vehicle per month in terms of lease payouts, okay? Keep in mind the penalty fee for breaking a contractual lease, in case you decide to step out earlier, will apply. These things do actually have an application to them. So keep that in mind if you go down the lease agreement route. In addition to this, trailers. So location, trucks, and now trailers as well. So a trucking company does require a variety of trailers to serve all kinds of markets that they're looking to get into. So much like trucks, there's different procurement or selection options that are available for trailers as well. If you are leasing a commercial truck, go for a trailer inclusive lease contract as an example. So a combination. But it is always a wise move to invest in a few different varieties of trailers to be desirable for shippers and brokers alike as well. An investment in brand new trailers can span anywhere between $25,000 and $150,000. Really depends on the trailers. Now we're using a wide range because it's going to depend on how long the trailer is, what kind of trailer it is, who the manufacturer of the trailer is. Obviously, if you're going to go with more specialized trailers like lowboy trailers, removable gooseneck trailers, those are going to be more expensive for the heavy duty vehicles, and the heavy duty trailers. Whereas if you're going with the more general type of trailers like dry vans, then yes, expect to pay somewhere between $25,000 and $50,000 for that trailer. Of course, with the current interest rates, that may be more like $80,000 as an example. But it really depends who you're purchasing from, what the credit agreement is, what your credit profile is as a buyer as well. This all influences rates, interest rates that is, and what you're looking at there as well. In addition to trailers, licenses, permits, and the related additional costs are also something to consider as well. Like you guys know, trucking, even though it's become deregulated, it's still a heavy regulated industry. Okay, so you'll have to meet different government regulations to begin your trucking company. And there's a lot of fraud in the industry, so you're going to have to get these to make sure that you're a legitimate company as well. So things like your motor carrier number and your US DOT number, that'll be somewhere around $300 as an expense for yourself. Commercial driver's licenses that is, okay, so this does not include the actual CDL training, which will be thousands of dollars, but the CDL itself, it could be anywhere from $200 to $500 as an example. IRP plates or International Registration Plan plates, and of course the IFTA plan as well, that cost will be around $1,500 to $2,000 for you if you're deciding to stay domestic USA to certain selected states. The highway vehicle use tax or the heavy vehicle use tax is going to be anywhere from $9 to $20 to file it. These forms will be filed depending on the states that require these filings to happen. Right now you have permitted states that have these type of applications. There's 5 of them. So there's New York, there's Kentucky, there's Connecticut, Oregon, and New Mexico. Okay, those are the states that will have these tax filings. So if you even service these states, even if you're not from those states, you still have to get these permits and file these quarterly for these states, for this permitted tax states, okay? In addition to this, the UCR registration is needed as well. This is a unified carrier registration. This is going to be between, again, I'm talking startup costs, between $40 and $250. The reason there's a range is because there's going to be brackets, right? For example, if you have 0 to 2 trucks, so in other words, up to 2 trucks, you're going to pay about $46 for this, plus any kind of associated credit card fees that may come with that. Whereas if you're doing a few more trucks, it could be $250 for your organization. A company like Schneider National, for example, Schneider, you've seen their orange trucks out on the road. Those guys are paying somewhere around $46,000 for the year. And this is a renewable occurring thing because they have over 1,000 trucks in their fleet, that is. Okay? That is over 1,001 trucks in their fleet. BOC3 filings are also needed, and that's going to cost you between $40 and $85. It's a one-time payment, but nonetheless an expense that you have to look at, okay? So the licenses and permit requirements for each carrier operator definitely can vary depending on the reach, the boundaries of operation, how far you're willing to go, okay? You should definitely look at certain consultants or consulting companies. You can reach out to us, or you can go and find the one that's best suited for you to help identify and acquire essential licenses for your businesses, okay? And there will be a charge for that service. However, you can find companies that charge just a nominal value like us, or you can search for the one that's best fit for you. Just understand that these expenses will be an out-of-pocket expense that you have to pay for. Overall, though, expect to pay somewhere between $3,000 and $8,000 or more even on licenses and permits alone. Okay, and this is why a lot of drivers hold off on opening up their own businesses until they have the funds available to do so. That's just how it goes.
Smooth melting Lindor by the Lind Maître Chocolatier. You choose the moment. We provide the bliss.
It's Leon's Save the Tax event. Save the tax on select furniture, including the Maxton reclining sofa with power reclining and genuine leather. Now only $16.99 plus save the tax. On now.
You also should look at things like business insurance. Okay, so insurance is another very important expense that you will have to incur after purchasing the vehicle, as an example. So the vehicle needs to be insured in 3 different aspects. One is the physical damage aspect. So insurance, this type of insurance will cover the full cost of the truck and also offers a coverage for the physical damage caused on the road as well. You're going to have liability insurance, and this type of coverage will be for third-party damages caused by the truck or the driver. And in addition to this, there will be cargo insurance, and this type of insurance covers for cargo damage in transit, and also the high-value cargo or goods should also be insured for higher protection. So if you're going to be doing things that are high value, 500,000, 1 million, 2 million, and more, then you need to look at HVC insurance or high-value cargo insurance as an example. Now, the annual insurance cost per truck is going to be somewhere in the range of $9,000 to $12,000. Can it be more? Yes, depends on the state, depends on your circumstances. Please always state that as a disclaimer. Also, you don't need liability insurance if you're leasing a vehicle. It is the responsibility of the motor carrier in case you're doing a lease agreement in that, a lease purchase agreement or something of that nature. But you do need to purchase physical damage and cargo insurance, and expect the insurance cost to range somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000 in those cases as well. If you're leasing a vehicle and just need to get the physical damage insurance and cargo insurance coverage as well. Another thing that affects how much money is going to cost you on the startup side will be the payroll expenses. Okay, so payroll expenses are very important because that's what that's who's going to be running your company: drivers, people in the office, staff. Okay, so depending on the operations of your business, you will need to hire maybe a few drivers on monthly payrolls as well as company drivers even. So the average commercial driver salaries in the USA range between $41,000 and $100,000 annually, and that's roughly between $3,000 and $8,000 monthly payroll expense on one driver. So considering the size of your operation, payroll expenses will be significantly higher if you got a more robust, bigger operation as well. Okay, if you consider hiring drivers on an hourly basis, you're going to expect to pay somewhere between $19 and $43 per hour. Take also into account the benefits, sick leaves, insurance, and other related expenses while hiring a driver on the payroll as well. Workers' compensation and taxes left, right, and center. There's lots of things to consider when it comes to that as well. Another thing you guys need to consider is technologies, things like electronic logging devices, trailer trackers, visibility tools, or dash cams as well. A business must look at adding technologies in everyday operations to try to reduce costs and also liability risks as well. Electronic logging devices, trailer trackers, dash cams, these kind of technologies for your trucking company can be beneficial. ELDs for the most part is a compulsory mandatory requirement, and on the other two, they're considered more favorable to have rather than mandatory. Electronic logging devices pretty much capture the driver's driving status, their hours of service, their work cycle limits, and timing for that, and it checks it to see how compliant it is against the regulations, and so that way you can look at reducing costs by making sure that drivers are staying compliant. Because if you're not compliant, this is where it gets very expensive, because you're going to be paying fines if your driver is caught running outside of the hours of service that the driver has on his or her clock. Okay. All in all, though, the cost for these technologies can be anywhere from $350 to $1,000 annually. Okay, so per year, what you're looking at on that side. When it comes to marketing, advertising, website setup, you should consider marketing expenses, and that you need to look at this because you're going to be wanting to brand your trucks. So branding on the trucks and vehicles to create brand image, so people recognize you in the local environment. And of course, some of the branding stuff, things like the US DOT number, are mandatory to be placed on side of the truck and need to be visible from 50 feet away, need to have a certain color aspect and color ratio to it. So there's a lot of things to consider, but that's not for you to know exactly. That's for the professional services that will be doing this, to know based off the specifications of the regulations how they need to make this branding stuff appear on your trucks and trailers.
Let's get our departments aligned. Accounting, how are we managing those extra fees? 6 words. Unlimited electronic debit and credit transactions, all thanks to the RBC Digital Choice Business Account Package.
As a small business owner, you do a lot, and RBC is here to help.
Also, print media, things like leaflets, pamphlets, brochures, things of this nature are important to get the name of your company out there, business cards, things like this. And also social media, okay, and other digital alternatives to social media as well. Truck branding, though, can be anywhere between $2,000 and $10,000. Consider also spending $1,000 to $10,000 or more initially on marketing as well. A website is definitely a crucial expense that you have to consider as well. And like I said, this is going to be for domain hosting, email setup, all that kind of stuff. Is going to be anywhere from $500 to $5,000 annually for your web design. Okay. Marketing expenses are recurring and are variable expenses, so they change month over month. And after setting up your trucking company, set a monthly budget of something like $200 to $500 for marketing and promotional activities as well. Okay. In addition to this, professional expenses, so legal services. Okay. Things like legal experts, legal advice can be anywhere from $150 to $500 an hour or more. but on average, the range is between $150 and $500. You have accounting as well. So on the accounting side, like I said, it's going to be between $100 and $300 for a good accountant. But like I said, if you have a family friend that can do it for $75 a month, that's great. That's good. That's good if you can do that as well. Also, business consultants as well. Business consultants can help maximize your profit and reduce costs as well. And they usually charge an hourly fee. My consulting services are $200 an hour, but the big boys are going to be $500, $1,000, $2,000 as an example. Okay. Some things you should consider when you're looking at reducing your costs in terms of your startup costs for your trucking company. Look at maybe buying a second-hand vehicle, a used vehicle. Okay, so consider buying used vehicles for your business that are maybe something like not older than 5 years, and also something like having less than 600,000 miles on the actual engine itself. And verify also the vehicle history, very important. Ensure that you look at a physical check and get the proper documentation before finalizing an actual deal. You must invest in vehicles that show promising condition. Otherwise, repair, maintenance costs are going to start piling up, and that's not good. That's very expensive. Okay, it can get very expensive very fast if you go down the cheap route and you buy a vehicle just based off price and don't do your due diligence, your investigations, your research to figure out, is this legitimately what you're being sold? Okay. Also, leasing vehicles. Even second-hand vehicles costs are definitely significantly higher right now because of interest rates and everything else. So if you have a very limited budget to get started, consider leasing heavy trucks and trailers. Okay, the monthly rents on these actual vehicles are quite low compared to one-time buying costs. So leasing also saves insurance expenses on physical damage. Not only that, you also have to save on, you're also going to save on maintenance and upkeep costs when you lease a vehicle. Okay, so that's something to consider for your trucking business. You also need to consider optimizing your insurance costs. So annual insurance expenses can get pretty expensive. So instead of doing it all on your own, maybe hiring a professional to help you get maximum coverage, better deals and offers on insurance plans. Okay. If you're doing it on your own, look out for umbrella plans to get the maximum coverage values on your insurance policies. So the umbrella policies that can cover everything that you need to get your trucking company going from that perspective as well. Try to reduce marketing costs if at all possible. So there's tons of low cost marketing things that are available for you. Don't spend thousands when you are just trying to scrape every dollar from or save every dollar that you can to try to increase your profits. But marketing is essential for business. You can do it on your own till you get enough money to spend enough for hiring professional help. You can opt for options like social media marketing, email marketing, advertisement marketing, video marketing, things like this to get your name available out there for people. Because if people don't know you exist, they're not going to buy from you. Okay. In addition to this, start small. Okay. If you have a little capital, small funds available, there's no shame in starting smaller and then eventually gradually getting to the size that you want to grow your company to. It is possible to start a trucking company on a budget of $10,000 as well. Keep that in mind. You can scale your operations later by adding more trucks, taking more shipments, adding more coverage regions. But starting small can give you enough time to test the market without creating a huge liability for yourself on the money side, the capital side. Okay? Look at also outsourcing administrative services. Okay, driver salary is going to constitute a major part of your business expenses. So you don't want to add more on monthly expenses by hiring even more staff on payroll. So everything secondary to your business offerings can be outsourced. So things like dispatching, fleet monitoring, legal filings, marketing, back office support for invoicing, and accounting as well. All this stuff can be done as an outsource to save money for yourself so you can focus on doing what you're best at, okay? I hope this video has become useful for you. If you've made it this far, thank you so much. Please give this video a like, a share, please comment. Please leave a comment if you have questions, comments, concerns, feedback, debate, whatever you need, let me know, and I will try to help you the best I can to answer the question or guide you in the right direction. You guys can reach out to me also by my email that will be in the descriptions in the video below. And thank you so much for making it this far in the video. I appreciate it. Thank you.
How do I clean an aioli stain? Here's Tide.
Do crabs have eyebrows?
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide.
Sometimes it just means doing the right thing. So literally just changing the way that you as a business are operating. It could be something as simple as being honest. Things like for a trucking company, it could be things like telling the drivers the right information, the correct information. This could be things like pickup numbers. It could be things like what time the actual pickup is. Now this is obviously stemming into the dispatchers themselves, right? Can the dispatchers be honest with the drivers, right? So you as a trucking company or a carrier owner need to talk to your dispatch team to talk about how they actually have to communicate with drivers. Drivers just want the honest information. If it's one pickup and one drop, be honest. If it's 15 pickups and 15 drops, tell the driver what is happening. Don't put drivers in a situation where they don't themselves know whether or not they should continue on this route, should they even take this load. If you're honest up front, it means a bonus for your company. Another thing is when you're visiting as a trucking company, potentially direct shippers or even brokers themselves, freight brokers themselves. If you tell them the honest truth of how many trucks you have, what you can do for them, what are the services that you can offer, and always do as you say you will do, doing the right thing, this will mean more business for you moving forward. Owner-operators, it's the same thing for you as well. If you're talking to your dispatchers or whoever is dispatching you, whether you're leasing onto a company or have somebody even at home, doing the right thing, being honest, what is capable to complete, what is doable, this will mean more business for you. It means that people will look at you as a trusted driver, a trusted owner-operator, and they will come to you even for advice when it comes to things like routing, logistics planning, quoting, or simply just asking, what do you think about this? Is this something that you can get done? Or if it's not, let us know what you think. So things like this can be of much assistance for you as a trucking company, as an owner-operator or carrier owner, whatever your role is. This is also what dispatchers need to do if they're running either an independent dispatch business or are dispatchers at an existing trucking company. Being honest is something that's going to drive home the right type of opportunities for you. If you are doing things the right way, you're going to get more referrals, you're going to get more business. This is also right for shippers, right? Shippers need to be honest with their carriers and brokers brokers need to apply this doing the right thing method to the way that they go about their business. There has been a lot of complaints lately that I've heard from carriers, from everybody in the supply chain, that are talking about people not doing as they say they will. Essentially just lying or fabricating truth to get to shipments, to get to loads, to get to more business. That's not a recipe for long-term success, and hopefully you guys take this video to heart as to what you guys should be looking at for your own businesses. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like, a subscribe to the channel, and let us know below in the comments how you approach your business. How do you approach brokers? How do you approach shippers? Are you seeing struggles? What are the current objections or issues that you're dealing with when it comes to reaching out for more business? Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.
So how in the world do you book loads for your trucks? Well, in today's video, we're going to be actually giving you a step-by-step, or I will be giving you step-by-step instructions on how to book loads, negotiate with brokers, and actually get confirmations for our trucks. As most of you already know, we are fully operational in Atlanta, Georgia. Our warehouse is up and running. We are starting to do